Hello! Well, this is a video I wasn't planning on making today. I wasn't planning on making any videos at all today. I'm only doing actual work for customers who pay me money, not this nonsense playing in the drive. But yesterday I took the Alfa for a MOT at Trevor's and said, check out under the front driver's footwell. It looks a bit crusty. I think you might need to do a little tiny bit of welding. And anyway, he rang me last night and said, there's not a little bit of welding to do on that car. No, there's a big bit of welding to do on that car. And unfortunately, I hadn't budgeted for a big bit of welding on that car, and my wife overheard the conversation. So I am going to go and get that car right now, and I'm going to drop off instead the Tomcat, which needs an MOT as well, so you can MOT that one instead. However, I hadn't finished setting up the suspension on this, so it's really still riding super high on its new coilovers at the moment. So I am very rapidly indeed going to just whip all four wheels off one at a time, just double check that the coilovers are bolted on properly and nip them up a little bit. I can sort out the ride height another time, but just want to make sure nothing's going to drop off on the way over to the garage, and then go and reclaim the Alfa and then work out what the hell to do with that in the future. Well, this is my super scientific ride height determining check. There are a 3-finger height gap between the tyre and the wheel arch on this side at the front, and we've got just over a loose 3-finger on the back here. So this is pretty much even, I'm going to say. Scientific, right? And on this side, that is also 3 fingers. And this one here, the same. So ride height, it's pretty much square. Well, this one looks okay. Someone did mention I put the hose behind one strut in front of the other, and I genuinely don't know which is the correct way around. Let's quickly spin this down and see how many winds up this is, because I did 40 on the other side. At least to match at least. Bit of tape on again as before. 1, 34. Okay, 34, so I'm going to wind this up a tiny bit. Right, so that's now buttoned up to the same height as the other front strut, and it all looks like it's bolted in okay, so I'm going to put the wheel back on, call that one done. Now before anyone says, oh, you've not got an axle stand in, I've put the wheel under the sill because this is barely above ground height. I'm not actually putting my hand into the workings of the car either. Right, let's count this on my thumbnail this time. 1, 2, 3, 9, 30. Let's give that one more ride up to give it some attention. That's quite tight actually. Last but not least, because I had that front one off the other day to set the right number of winds on it. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had to raise this one 5 winds. That's going to be quite tricky. Or / impossible. Are now even on the back, so it should be sitting square as it goes down the road. Just tighten these things up together, and I guess we've got a car ready for an MOT, apart from the emissions, which is obviously going to fail on. So, what actually is wrong with this Alfa? Why was it going to fail its MOT had we put it through for one? Well, in the 20 or so years since it was built, it appears to have rusted worse than Titanic. It has got, well, before I bought it, it had been repaired. It had all the usual Alfa rust spots, which is the sills, the floor pans, the front strut tops. And it looks like it was welded by someone whose welding skills were similar to mine, basically. With the sill covers removed, you can see where, basically it looks like the rust has been partially cut out and then plated over, and because the weld isn't that great, it's now starting to come apart, so the sills aren't particularly structural anymore. So it needs basically 2 new sills grafting in, weld both inner sills is what is written on the report. Also the front near side top mount, I'll show you that in a cutaway, has started to crack. I actually had noticed a crack in the paint a little while ago, but I assumed it was just the paint that was cracked. I hadn't realised quite how badly that had actually gone, which looks honestly incredibly dangerous. And so after a couple of thousand miles of enthusiastic driving, that's starting to give way, so the struts are going to have to come out and those are going to have to be rewelded. And also the brake flexi hoses are on the perished side. So yeah, so basically the big expense here is the welding time on the sills, and also because it is the floor pan, all the interior's got to come out, the seats and the carpet have got to be lifted out, so there's a couple of hours work putting those in and out as well. But on the plus side, whilst that is all out, we can weld in a new centre exhaust hanger, which means that I can finally have proper exhaust rubbers on this thing, and the exhaust pipe might stop falling off. But yeah, it's now winter time, and I'm not going to be driving this car until, well, really not February. There's no massive rush to crack on and spend a fortune before Christmas. So this will now move to the back of the pile of cars to be fixed and get washed in a bit and, yeah, ignored under a cover for a few weeks. It's not going away, but I'm not going to spend an absolute fortune on it just before Christmas. So, yeah. That's why the Rover's being MOT now, because just after Christmas, one of the first shows of the year is the Rover Sports Register Icebreaker, and I want that car ready for that one. I'm filming this while the Rover's being MOT'd, so hopefully, by the time you see this, or the next bit will be me going, yay, it was a really cheap, easy MOT, nothing went wrong. It won't be, will it?
Well, so time has passed. It's a couple of weeks since I started this video because then Christmas and New Year got in the way, and I just didn't have time to do stuff for the cars. The garage was shut with Rover is, and now I am on the way down to the garage where the Mini is at the moment, as in lock-up garage, not mechanics garage. I did go and try and have a look at the airbag light situation over Christmas. Unfortunately, when I got there, the battery was stone dead. It wouldn't even turn on the interior light, so that's been on charge for about a week now, and finally got a green light on the charger. So if that will fire up the car, my plan today is I'm not going to waste any more time trying to figure out where the fault is on the airbag circuit. It's going to be a wire under the chair, but just locating is a pain in the bum with not the proper tools. I'm going to take that over to Trevor's garage, where he has currently got the Tomcat, and the Tomcat has just passed its MOT. So this is the first of 3 cars I'm driving in a shuttle relay to get the car back. And this is actually kind of the problem with the Mini, why nothing's really been done to it. Because if you've got a car that's just slightly too far to just get out the front door and it's there and you've got a spanner in your hand and you can do it, you'll go and tinker with it. If the car's like a street or so away and you've got to go and just walk 2 minutes, you'll probably go and do something to it. If you've got to get in the car to drive to it, to do something, it will fall way behind in your list of priorities if you've got stuff to do at home. Anyway, I've got a fully charged battery in the boot, I've got a spanner to reattach it, and we'll go and put the battery in a second, and hopefully it'll fire up again. Right, so the battery is now connected. Let's see if the central locking works again. But it didn't a minute, well, before we charge. Oh, we have central locking. Will the car actually start? Keys in ignition. Gear is in neutral. Wow, I've got lights on the dashboard, which is good. Hooray, it's alive! Bonnet open, handbrake on, airbag. Yeah, the airbag one should be going out right now. Bum. Well, here I am in car number 2 of the day. This is the Wire Edge Mini, which if you're new to the channel, you might not have seen before. I've had this car a couple of years now, because I did a job at the Mini plant in Oxford a couple of years back, and it was all about how the new Mini was 15 years old, and we were just kind of jaws on the floor, and a couple of these Wire Edge Minis, which are the kind of pre-production, pre-customer production cars, were there, and me and the guy I was with both absolutely fell in love with them and rushed out and, well, spent several months trying to find one. This one failed its MOT on an airbag light back in the end of autumn, because as I was driving to the MOT station, I moved the chair, the light came on, so that means that this chair's airbag wiring is a bit squiffy. And that comes back to the fact that, a year and a half ago, I changed the front seats on this car because the ones that came with it were pretty naff, to be fair.
So I picked up a complete interior. Unfortunately, someone had cut the plugs off the airbag connectors for the seats, so we had to solder the connectors back on. So I'm wondering if perhaps that's what's happened. Anyway, we'll do a swapsy with this car and the Rover Tomcat, so I can drive the Rover Tomcat home. Trevor can, at his leisure, take a look at this airbag, which I think won't be too big a deal. Everything else in the car is fine. I mean, it aced the MOT without an advisory in every other respect apart from that stupid light. I mean, if this wasn't an LED dashboard that's really hard to break into, I would have just taken the screen off and put some insulation tape over the LED and just been done with it. Unfortunately, it's not very easy to get into the Speedo to do that. It cause more trouble than it's worth to try and circumvent that trouble. The little ping you heard a second ago is my tyre pressure warning light, which I'm surprised to see because the tyres feel okay, but I'm going to pull over in a second and have a quick look around the car. On the rare occasions, this car and the Mini are actually side by side because the Rover lives at home and the Mini tends to live over at a lock-up garage just a couple minutes away. Horses. Stopping for horses. While I'm here, I can say that the reason the car failed the MOT was this. This is the O2 sensor. It had one of them changed not that long ago, but it had failed again. Trevor did a test. Oh, there's a dog walking in front of the car now. Hello, dog. Trevor did a resistance test on it and even managed to get his ancient snap-on diagnostic tool dug out of the back of a cupboard somewhere and managed to find that it was this thing that was at fault. So it was a new one, but it had failed. So that's why the emissions were completely through the roof. He did say that even though it was through on the emissions, the cat still wasn't performing brilliantly. It was well enough to get through the test, but not fabulously. However, if I run it a bit for the summer, put a bit of cat cleaner on there, it may just bring it back, and it may just be so clogged up with horribleness from having an what do you call it? A malfunctioning O2 sensor that's been running rich and dumping tons of gook through the system. It may just clear up and come back for the next year, and I won't have to buy a catalytic converter for it, and that will be something of a relief. Also, while he had it on the ramp, he spotted a bit more rust in the near side sill at the back, so he plated that up for me, which I have no problem with because he would have done it better than I would have done it. And this is actually only the second time I've driven this car on its new shock absorber since it had the refurb gases put back onto it. I still hear a fair bit of creaking and groaning, so it will probably want maybe some new bushes or something somewhere in the system. But the ride quality, even though I've not dialed it in yet, it's still a bit, I don't know, it's not quite right yet, because it's adjustable in terms of both ride height and firmness and rebound. I've yet to dial it in as it should be, but wow, what a difference. The car isn't thudding and crashing over every single bump like it used to, and it's actually quite comfortable to be in now. It's still quite firm actually, and having just climbed out of the Mini, which has got surprisingly soft suspension for a sports car, but that's how they were done about 20 odd years ago. This is actually quite firm, although it's not thumpingly firm. Well, this car has been sat, I think it must be about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks even, because I took it to him before Christmas, said there's absolutely no rush on this. If you've got any customers begging for stuff before Christmas, go through that first. And then it was Christmas and it was New Year, so it's been sat in the yard. It's absolutely filthy. It's being sort of rained on and dirtied on, and I think the tyres feel a bit low as well. So it's also running on fumes, so the first petrol station I come to I will stop at and I'll just see if I've got an airline there I can give the tyres a quick blast with as well. But looking at my MOT certificate, it's now got 130,988 miles. That is only 600 miles in the last year. I thought I'd driven it more than that, to be honest. Repair and monitor as necessary, those are the advisories in
simple speak. Oil leak, but this tester he uses always writes oil leak to cover himself. And track rod end as slight play, which is the driver's side one, which is the one I didn't change. So I'm glad my repair didn't get noticed. But yeah, I will have to deal with that imminently. Other than that, thanks to Trevor sorting the emissions out and doing a bit of welding, this car has aced yet another MOT. If you're watching this from outside of Britain, which I know a fair few of you are, I know I get a few American viewers for certain, and I think a few Australians as well. Here in the UK we have the annual roadworthiness test, which is the MOT, Ministry of Transport's test. Okay, this is interesting. This truck seems to have died across the road. Oh, it's ground out at the back. He's gone around the corner and the back wheels are off the ground. Oopsie. Yeah, if you've got a car over 40 years old, you don't have to pay road tax on it, so it's free to use on the road. But bear in mind that this car, for example, I do pay road tax on, but I used 600 miles last year and 1,000 miles the year before, so it's not exactly putting a lot of wear and tear on the tarmac. There was a new thing not so long ago where if your car is 40 years old, it doesn't need to have an MOT test either, which means you can be driving around with holes in the floor, brakes that don't work, steering that's not connected. I think that's an insane idea, allowing anyone to basically self-certify that their car is okay, and if they do happen to crash and kill someone, then they get the book thrown at them, but it's a bit late by then, isn't it? And that just kind of, and cynically, I kind of feel like the legislators are kind of hoping that will happen, and then they've got something to throw at future laws saying we can't have old cars on the road, we can only have electric autonomous vehicles. So I would urge anyone who is running an older car, even if you don't get an MOT on it, at least get a garage to go and give it an equivalent of, like some kind of safety check, just so that you've got proof that you've covered your own back, you've given some kind of annual inspection with an expert other than your own self. Because if you drive a car all the time, you do kind of get used to its foibles and its quirks, and you just kind of let stuff go. But this car is safe! Yes! Hurrah! Just in time for the sun coming out for spring. I mean, it's, what's the date today? 7th of January, I believe. So it won't be long before I can pop the roof. Ugh. Hey, that was a big improvement. I just went through a pothole and the car just rode with it. It didn't crash so badly I thought the windows were going to fall out. Thank you, Gaz. That's a big improvement. By the way, I looked at the tyres on the Mini. There's nothing wrong with them. Turned the car off and on again, and the light cleared. So, don't know, sensor glitch. Anyway, now this car's back. What are my plans for the year? Well, first of all, this headlining has got to go. It's likewise in the back. It's really drooping. I can barely see out the back window because of that. I'm going to see if I can repair the back one by using some clever bits of glue and baton and stuff. This one may well be well past it. So yeah, that's number one on the list. Number two, I'm going to change that track rod end, which is an advisory on the MOT. Fine-tune the suspension so it gets the best possible drive out of itself. There's a kit you can get that gives you a much nicer, tighter gear shift. So all the little kind of linkages just tighten up, so it's not stirring a bowl of porridge, it's actually clunking into one gear after the other nice and neatly. That's the thing I want to get done. The paintwork, the roof looks awful, and there's some real shabby paint around the car. And I don't think I'll get all of it done. It's not going to get a full bare metal respray by any means. First thing I'm going to do to it though is give it a wash. And right now it looks like a barn find, or more accurately a ditch find. So yeah, that's going to get a good wash, make it look a bit tidy. And at the weekend, it's the annual Rover Tomcat Meet, which starts off at a Greasy Spoon diner for a proper breakfast. Then a convoy through the lanes to the AGM. I don't know if I'll stay for the AGM or not. I don't know if I've got time, unfortunately. But I definitely want to do the breakfast and the blast. Because you never see two Tomcats on the road together. If you see one coming the other way, it's a major occurrence. So to have a convoy of a couple of dozen of them all driving together, that's quite an experience. It feels so good to have my cars coming back together again as a working fleet.
because the last few weeks it's just been the grey W204 Mercedes and my wife's Mini Clubman that have been on the road. Everything else has just been broken in some way. So this one's back. I can get on the road and use this one and have some fun with it. The Mini hopefully would just be one tiny broken irritating wire away from an MOT pass, because the car drives perfectly. It's just that one stupid little LED on the dashboard that says it can't drive. The Alfa is going to take a bit more work. I've located where I can get a set of brake flexi hoses for it. Interestingly enough, from Autodoc, the company that sponsored the Alfa 145 review video. It's not really ironic, is it? They're a car parts supplier, but they do have them in stock. And I'll have 3 retros running. Talk about plans for the rest of the fleet for the rest of the year, but the Mercedes has to work very soon. I'm really fed up of it not running, and I think the only way that's going to happen now is if I pay someone who is like an expert or diagnosing and repairing. Bosch K-Jetronic. It's a real dark art of a system. So it scrubs up quite nice in the end. Just don't come any closer than that, because then you'll see all the marks and the paintwork. But from a distance, this is a good 10-foot car. So yeah, this is a rare commodity in these parts. A road legal, clean, with petrol in it, retro car on my drive. Who knew? Ignore the ones that are broken and yeah, everything else. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my pain as always. If you'd like to see more of this nonsense, you can support the channel and look good at the same time with some of the awesome Furious Driving merch in the form of teacups, travel cups, stickers, t-shirts, and on the Redbubble site, which is in the link below, we've also got Rover badge stuff. If you're a hardcore Rover nut, we've got Rover mugs, Rover stickers, Rover t-shirts, Rover duvet covers, I believe. Everything you can think of. And yeah, that will help keep these terrible old things on the road a little bit longer. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. I know you will anyway, but I'll see you again very soon.